Hey guys, good morning. Hope everybody's doing fantastic.
Yep. It's a cool March day here in Georgia, in the mid 30s this morning, but now it's about in the 50s here.
All right, now enough of the weather forecast. Hey gang, good morning. Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there.
It's a beautiful sunny day.
Here in Georgia. We're here at Andersonville, the notorious Confederate prison camp for Union soldiers. And we're going to take a nice little tour around it, and we're going to learn a lot of history here. It's a very solemn place, I understand. And
yep, unfortunately, a lot of people lost their lives here.
All right, gang, we're gonna go check out the visitor center, and it's also the they have a prisoner of war museum here that I believe encompasses many wars, not just the Civil War. So it's gonna be it's gonna be rather interesting. What's that, Sharon? Sorry, the National Prisoner of War Museum. So we're gonna learn a lot about all of this genre, I'll call it, and it's gonna be probably a pretty sad experience, but an educational one nonetheless. So we always want to make sure we get good history lessons, right? And the building itself, I'm going to turn the camera around in a minute. The building itself was kind of built to invoke the stockade prison look, nothing specific, but as you can see, if I turn the camera around, it kind of looks like a prison, right? And so they've designed it that way. So, and there was a lot of prison camps, you know, all throughout all different wars. Even World War II, of course, as most of us know, there was Japanese prisoner of war camps in the United States, out west, and so on. So, hey everyone, welcome to Andersonville and the National Prisoner of War Museum. The Park Service has done a phenomenal job creating this environment and making it such a moving and learning experience. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Behind you is the National Prisoner of War Museum. It's not very big, but it's quite dense. Some people take minutes, some people take hours, some people can't handle it and don't finish.
Well, I would expect it to be a very moving experience.
It is, especially if you're a veteran.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay.
Hey guys, Miss Ann right here has just told me a really cool secret about this building. She said that depending on what time of day, right? Time of day, the sun angle coming in that glass roof up there, okay, actually takes that sunlight and the shadows and brings it down over the pictures of the prisoners, and so it makes it look more like a prison. So very cool. That's pretty cool. So we don't know if the architect thought about that or if it's just something that happened to remind us of what was here, right? Now, you guys don't talk too much. We love talking to people. You know, that's what this lifestyle is all about, you know, because the fabric of the country is really not the country. It's the people within the country and the events and experiences, right?
Yeah. We get much fun and
enjoyment out of talking to people, right?
Not just the places that we see and the things that we do, but the people that we meet.
Yeah, what a great place this is. All right, let's go check this movie out.
Ragged sheets of canvas flapping in the wind stretched over the Georgia dirt. Imagine that earlier, during the summer of 1864, starving prisoners of war were laying themselves down in this dirt to die. Their fate was determined by forces much larger than themselves. But while the Civil War outside the stockade walls raged on, the daily routine inside was more desperate. Something had gone terribly wrong. These men, caught in a system that had broken down, paid the price.
pay tribute to the memory of those Civil War prisoners who lost part, or all of themselves, to Andersonville's horrors and deprivations. But these 475 acres represent more than a particular place or a particular time. As the national memorial for all American prisoners of war, Andersonville is an echo resounding the spirit of those who believe in their country, in their battles, and in the virtue of humanity.
Now you're talking about Civil War, cemetery, and prison camp. A feeling came over me that I had something in common here with these people.
We crashed very quickly. It was a really bad wreck. We were going about 140, and they blew the tail boom off the helicopters.
A tree that I fell through ended up causing broken arm, broken shoulder, broken leg, dislocated knees.
They said there was 100 transports coming and the Pacific Fleet. They never did tell us the fleet was on the bottom of the bay in Pearl Harbor.
No backup, no grenades, no nothing but well, we did have a pistol.
I had a grenade with him because we had ran across a couple of black prisoners that they had tried to take the skin off, and I wasn't gonna be captured alive.
Wrinkles, but appeared dried up and contracted in mind and body.
I was about 195 when I was shot down, and I think I got down as low as probably 120.
About 100 pounds, 105 pounds.
My first 2 years, I probably went down to 100 pounds.
And it was only if you happened to be there at a time when they happened to have food available that you got any.
They starved you half the time. They fed you lugar for breakfast. It was rice whipped up to like a starch. You could drink it, you know.
Went out in the rivers and just pull weeds and boil them and serve them to you as I don't know what.
I never waste anything. I don't.
What'd you think of that movie, Sharon?
Well,
That was pretty amazing.
that's very sad.
Yeah, it's a prisoner of war movie. You guys got to come to this facility. This is amazing information here. I was crying. I'll be the first one to tell you, there was some tears in my eyes when they were interviewing all the prisoners of war from all the different wars. So anyway, let's check out the rest of the museum. So in the Prisoner of War Museum, we talk about the reunion of some of the soldiers later after the war, the hanging of Captain Mertz, who was the commandant of the prison of Anderson prison camp. Big trial in Washington, D.C. right after the war, and he was sentenced, he was guilty, and was hung. That was him right there, I believe. So the whole museum goes through and talks about all of the Andersonville, and then of course all the other prisoner of war episodes, if you will, in our life. Pretty cool. Not cool, but it's great history. It needs to be remembered. Conditions were so bad at the camp that you had a lot of roaming gangs, prisoners against prisoners, and these gentlemen, there was 6 of them that were found guilty and hung. 6 Union soldiers that were hung because of the activities within the camp, stealing and killing their own fellow prisoners. Here at the museum, it also talks about all the political fighting, all the political powers to be. They also used to have, in the early part of the war, they had prisoner exchange, but those talks and that program broke down, so that's why you had these prison camps that held all the prisoners throughout the war, and they stayed there through the entire war. Andersonville, there was also one in New York, a Union prison camp in New York that held as many prisoners as the one in Anderson, or almost as much as the one in Andersonville, with some of the similar conditions. So not pretty. Hey, the next few minutes of the video are pictures from around the museum. Sit back and enjoy them. Stop the video whenever you would like to read some of the plaques, and I'll be back with you before we head out to see the prison camp. As we look at these pictures before you, it makes you wonder how us as humans can do these things to each other. It definitely gives you a heavy heart and gives you a sense of introspection to know that these things have gone on. It is with deepest gratitude of the men and women that have served, that have given the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. Thank you. All right, we're going to head out back to see where the prison camp site was. Andersonville was designed to hold about 13,000. At one point had about 45,000 prisoners in it. And they've got some of the stockade walls set up so you can kind of get a general idea of where it was at and the size of site that it covered. The shebangs in front of you here are actually the lean-tos that the prisoners built to keep themselves from being out in the weather and all. And as you look at the pictures, you'll see a railing. Inside that railing between the stockade post and the railing was called the dead zone. If the prisoners were caught in there, they were shot on sight. This is a view looking into the stockade, and this is a view of the entire site from left to right. This is what it looked like when it was in full swing. About 45,000 prisoners inside an area for 13,000. Many of the states have now, or since that time, have put up monuments to recognize the sacrifices of the men that were imprisoned here at Andersonville. So many of them, and the prisoners seem to have hung out in certain areas, you know, with their own, if you will, states and all. So that's why the monuments are placed where they are. That's kind of where they believe they were. And now the cemetery of Andersonville, about 13,000 prisoners are buried here. Most of them died just because of the conditions of the cemetery. They were given numbers, of course, and then later on research was done to give them names, put names on the gravestones. These are those raiders that were going around the camp. These are some of their grave sites here. And also this is Captain Wirtz. He was the commander of the prison camp and who ended up getting tried and hung for the atrocities at the camp. So we appreciate you guys watching. Hope you've enjoyed and learned, and see you next time.